It's time to take your business to the next level, the boss level. These are the premier business owner strategies and successes being utilized by the industry's top talent today. Rock your business like a boss, a VO boss. Now let's welcome your host, Ann Ganguzza.
Hey, everyone. Welcome to the VO Boss Podcast and the VO Boss Superpower Series. I'm your host, Ann Ganguzza, and I have today with me the effervescent, lovely, amazing Lola Peters.
Keep going, Annie. Keep going. You don't need to stop.
She is everything. She is everything, bosses.
Oh,
And we love
you.
her. And we love her.
We love you too. So awesome to be here.
Well,
Always.
It's awesome to have you as usual. So
Thank you.
today, or I shouldn't say today, but this week, I had a very exciting thing happen to me.
Mm-hmm.
I got an email from a potential client that said they had been researching quietly in the background, looking for a new voice for their brand. And they found me. And they listened to my demos. They found me like on a Google search and found my website and listened to my demos. And then apparently narrowed down that search to about, a handful of people. And they said that they would like me to audition for this very cool possibility for a major brand. And I was so ecstatic because I didn't do a thing. Like, they found me on a Google search and they found my website and they were able to listen to my demos and they were able to assess my voice, obviously, and decide, yes, she's going on a short list. All because I had a really great website that had things laid out easily, easy to find my demos, easily played, and easy to contact me. And so I thought it was important. I thought it would be an important topic to discuss. Websites. And I know I talk about it incessantly, but I thought let's dedicate an entire episode to websites and how they are so important to your business bosses.
Oh, that's so fabulous. I'm so happy for
Thank
you.
you.
Congratulations.
Yay, thank you.
Big yay. I love that. You got my jazz hands. Woo.
Thank you.
It's really awesome. I do have to qualify one thing you said for the listeners, and that you said you did nothing.
Oh, well,
You actually have 25 years behind
You're
you
right.
that led up to that
You're
moment
right.
that made that prospect client's life really fast and easy
Yes.
so that they didn't move on to the next
Yeah.
person. So I just wanted to catch you on that
Thank you for that.
you're so used
Yes,
to
I
being
know.
fabulous that you think you're doing nothing when really you've done all the work leading up to that moment.
And I'll tell you, and I did do the work on my website, my storefront, that made that available, right? I'm always saying that you can have the best voice in the world, but it doesn't do you any good if people don't know about you. And one of the easiest and quickest ways that people can find out information about you and your product and contact you is that website. And so many people put that website on the back burner, or they're like, I don't have the money to invest. Guys, I'm here to tell you, you have to do that. If you are a business in 2023, or for the past 10 years, if you've been a business, you really need to have that storefront. You need to have that website. It is critical. And I always tell people, don't skimp on it. We talk about investing in our business all the time. And it is one area I think you need to invest. And I've invested over the years thousands of dollars. I don't want to say that it's super, super expensive. It can be. I'm a big believer in presentation really matters, right? Presentation matters. And so, yes, can you do your own website? Sure. Are you a website designer by trade? Maybe not. So I tend to try to make it as presentable and as professional as possible so that it makes an impression.
Yeah, it pops.
Yeah.
Yours always pops, and it just comes right out at you. So I'm not surprised that you have this huge brand that's looking at you now because you look like a huge brand. You have to project exactly
Yes.
the karma and the boomerang that you want to get back. You have to really be honest about that. And when someone says what you just said, Annie, like, oh, I don't have the money for that, well, make the
Yeah.
money.
Oh,
Go
please.
do whatever you need. Wash cars. Take care of puppies
Yes.
and flip pancakes
Yes.
to make the money
Wash cars,
so that you
clean
look
houses,
like that.
do whatever you got to do, but
Whatever.
get that
We all
money,
did it.
right?
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. And I love that you said that because, again, we all did that, right?
We all did that.
You'd be amazed at what I do for money, but that's another topic.
By the way, websites are cheaper and quicker and easier to create now than ever. I remember the days where it would take $10,000, $15,000 to make a website.
Well, and I'm going to mention this. I'm going to qualify this because I have a website that's very functional, okay? I have multiple websites, number one. I don't think you need to be held to just one website, although for my voiceover, right, I've got one website. But remember, I've got multiple divisions of my business, right? I've got the VO Boss. That's a completely different brand. I've got the VO Peeps. That's a different brand. I've got Ann Ganguza Coaching. That's a different brand. I've got my Studio Cats. That's a different brand. So literally, for each of my brands, I have a separate website. And depending on what you want to do with that website, especially because I sell products, I sell physical products, I sell digital products, I sell memberships. And so because of the extensive selling that I do on my website, and I think, hey, every VO needs to be able to sell on their website. You have to make it easy for people to pay you, right? Who wants to step through hoops to make a payment? I mean, just
friction.
Click and pay. And same thing with all aspects of your website, right? People should be able to find what they need and buy as quick as possible, right? So my websites, you know, you were talking about, they used to cost a whole lot more money. You're right. Any voice actor can get a one-page website, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that a little later, but for not a tremendous amount of money, there are templates out there that can make it look very professional. Lots of great people out there as well. For my websites, because of the extensive functionality, I have memberships, I have multiple ways to pay me, I have calendar appointments, scheduling going on, then that's going to cost you a little bit more on the back end. But again, it is an investment in your business.
Yes, I want to caution listeners, too, that as much as you want one and need one, and eventually will have one, if not more than one, be careful of doing it prematurely. Because I know, Annie, you go through this, I go through this on the coaching end, that we'll get a lot of newbie starters, like within the first month or two. They're just literally investigating VO. They're just starting training. And already they're thinking about, oh, I need a website. I need marketing. I need this. I'm like, wait a second. You don't even know if you like it. You don't even know if you want to do it yet.
And wait till you get the product to market first, right? Because the whole idea of a voiceover website is that you have a product that you can market. Well, you want to make sure that you have the product first. That means get your coaching, get your demo, because the demo is going to showcase that product, right? Make sure that you've got those things in place. But I would say it's never too late to start thinking about your website, start thinking about a brand. But again, that's something that you'll discover as you go. And so I think a lot of times if you start too early with that website, your branding is not quite finalized. And then that could be costly for you later on because you could be thinking, oh, I really like this way to brand me. I'm going to use this tagline or I'm going to use these colors. And then as you evolve in developing your voiceover product, you might say, oh, well, maybe that doesn't fit me as well as this one does. And then you're going to have to rebrand, and that's going to probably cost you more money. So absolutely start planning for it. There's lots of development work you can do on the back end before it is out there and present on the web, on the interwebs, where people go to your website and they say, there's no demos. Like, how do I hear you, right?
And be careful, too, that once you do this, or at least the beginning stages of doing this, of saying, I see this all the time. My website is up and out. I got my demos on there. I've got some training. I'm ready to go. I'm ready for the jobs. Where's my work? Be careful of that way of thinking because on average, a business that's a startup business in any industry takes a good 3 to 5 years to get off the ground. It just does. So be careful of this. I'm ready to go. Where's my work kind of mentality. Like you have to work at getting work. You have to earn it. You have to reach out. You have to do the hard work, labor of directing traffic to the website.
Yes.
The website doesn't necessarily do it for you. You have to direct people to the website, right? Anne?
Exactly. Your content that's out there is what helps to generate the SEO where if people are searching for a specific product or a specific voice, that hopefully it's getting increasingly difficult, that you show up on those pages, right? So if you're not getting good SEO with people finding you through the search engines, you can absolutely put content out there that is of interest to your potential clients. And that can mean social media. You can be entertaining on social media. You can put out blog articles on social media or on your website. Then you can then drive people to that website so that they can then have access to your demos, have access to a button where they can click and contact you and say, hey, I have the script. How much would it cost? And of course, I always like to make it easy to pay as well. So absolutely driving.
I always love too. I'll tell you, speaking as an agent, one of the big things that I'm asked is, how do I deal with driving someone to see my website? I say, easy. Give me one link. It should be one link navigation and point me in exactly what you want me to see right away.
Yeah.
So let's say I'm an agent. I am an agent. I don't want to go through all your pages. I don't want to scroll way down. I don't want to find the demos. For me, it's the commercial demo. Send me exactly to where the commercial demo is. And then if I have time and I want to scroll down, and oftentimes I do, I'll scroll, I'll see what it looks like. It's kind of cool. But I'm not frustrated trying to find that particular item that I'm looking for. So really point the people that you're driving in exactly where they need to go, so they're not kind of looking around, figuring it out, having trouble with navigation.
Yeah, that's a big plus, is to be able to have concise information quickly available to the shopper. Now, I always make this comparison that when I shop online, and I love to shop online. I'm a shopper, okay?
You're a shopaholic.
I kind of am. So the first thing I do, think about when you shop online, right? What is it that makes you click and buy? Right? Number one, right? For me, it has to be a professional looking website. It has to really speak to me that Old Navy sells clothing and accessories. And so therefore, I always use Old Navy, but it could be anything. Nordstrom Rack. It could be all of my favorite places, right? They have to absolutely, when I get to that first page, have to look professional.
Right.
They kind of have to be current trends. You know, it can't be like anything screaming, blinking graphics like from the 90s or when websites were first made. It can't just be one big long page. It has to look professional. I have to be able to access the products that I want right away. I need to be able to find out information right away. And I need to be able to read, get more information or look at pictures of it. And so for a voiceover, I listen to demos, listen to samples, maybe watch videos. Okay, if I have questions, how am I going to get those questions answered? Is there an FAQ? Is there somebody I can contact that I can talk to? Is there a phone number, believe it or not? There are people who still like to talk on the phone, just saying. I like to talk on the phone. When I need to find out information, like I literally just bought a pair of glasses. There's a big surprise. And I needed to return them so that I could get a new pair of lenses. And I went to the website. They're like, well, we're sorry, we don't make those anymore, right? So you're going to have to pick out new glasses. And I'm like, wait a minute. Okay, now this is getting complex. So I literally was like, where's the phone number, right? So I got the phone number, I called customer service. So things like that, right? So for me, when I buy, what's important for you when you buy, when you go to a website? It looks professional, it's trustworthy. I feel as though I could put my credit card information in there and it wouldn't be stolen or compromised. And so you have to work on creating a business storefront on that website that is trustworthy, professional, and just easy to access and navigate.
I love that word easy. Easy is the word we want to keep in mind because as creatives, we want to go into a lot of content, a lot of information, a lot of different directions because it's the nature of a lot of what we do. But yet, the audience does not want that. The audience wants super quick, 10-second, find what I need, look it over fast.
After that, if they want to find out more information, like how experienced are they, right? Have they been doing this a long time? Now, I'm going to ask you, Law, as an agent, and for me also for casting people, a lot of times I will go to their website because it tells me a bunch about their brand. Just like when I research companies, right? When I'm researching companies so that I can voice their brand more effectively, I look at what is their website saying to me? What is their brand? Who is their audience? Do you, when it comes time to deciding who you might want to put on your roster, let's say, okay, you hear the commercial demo, but don't you also, maybe you've got a similar voice, or maybe you're trying to find out if they have versatility in maybe another area. Do you not continue to go through their website and or even their social media, right? I think your social media link's got to be on there as well to kind of find out more about the person. Because before I let you speak, we always buy from people we know, like, and trust. And that website is going to be the storefront of that in providing that information.
Yes, I would say yes, and yes, and be careful anything that's leading you to anything else, you've got the tentacles out there. So whatever you put on your website may lead you to other places,
Sure.
whether they're socials or articles or stories, whatever. I would just be careful. Just go through all of that. So play the role of someone who is landing on you and maybe looking at you for a job. Just put yourself in their shoes and say, okay, Joe Smith, great. Let me go and investigate Joe Smith because maybe I want to represent them. What are all the places that I'm led to?
Sure.
And are they good places?
Sure,
Are they not
absolutely.
good places? How do they represent you? Like, you have to be really careful about that. The panel that I was on at the conference that we just attended, one of the casting brought up, be careful of what's on your social
Oh,
media.
gosh, yes.
Be very careful, right? You can control that yourself, but you may need a reputation defender type of
Absolutely.
a service
Absolutely.
to wipe out all your crap that you've done for 10 years, pay them $1,000 or whatever it is, and clean your slate. Just like you and I clean our closets, clean your online
Right.
slate.
Look, we are celebrities, okay? I'm just saying. Right. First of all, I'm manifesting. I'm manifesting. We are celebrities, right? We are celebrities.
Yes.
And how many celebrities do you know have tarnished their brand by something they've said or something that's gotten out on social media, right? That wasn't appropriate, okay? And so when a brand is going to hire you, a company's going to hire you to represent them, that is of concern to them, right? They don't want to be hiring people that are talking badly or poorly on social media or representing themselves poorly, because then it's going to represent the brand poorly. So it starts with your website, because again, if people don't know how to hire you, if they can't find you, it's never going to happen. So that website is a very, very worthwhile investment. And I'm going to say, I wouldn't go for the cheapest website developer out there. I just wouldn't. There are some reasonably priced websites. I guess the question to me would be, okay, is it good enough? So for me, look at my websites. I spend the money. I'm very proud of my websites. It took me a long time to find my website designer, and I make sure that I'm refreshing and I'm trying to update them so that it is a professional looking website, and I constantly get complimented on it. And I'm thinking to myself, well, I think that's wonderful, but you could have it too, right? It really comes down to researching a good website designer, understanding who you are, what your brand is, what you want to put out there in your storefront. And that requires a lot of work, guys. It's not let's do this overnight and let's just write a quick paragraph bio. No, this is something that really has to evolve. And like I said, if you can plan and you can start that planning sooner, I would recommend that, right? Because there's a lot of thought that goes into how you present yourself. And again, I will spend the money, I will make the investment to present myself in the very best light possible, right? I want to be better than every other website out there because I want there to be that little something that people say, you know what, I'm going to go with her. And again, I cannot tell you how many people who have found me on my website and said, wow, and they go on about, you are so impressed. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, I'm in. And I've been doing this for a while, thank you. But in my head, I'm going, okay, but they're going on about it because of the presence that I project. And every one of you can project that presence and manifest that celebrity on your website, because that is going to make such a statement about who you are and what kind of work you're going to be doing for that company. And of course, I am a celebrity, so I manifest it. I'm just saying, Law, right?
I'm all over that. And I do think there is something to you get what you pay for. But be careful and who you pay and who you entrust. Like, you really have to look at their work, look at their portfolio, see if they're someone that you want to trust with your brand. And are they capable?
Yeah.
Are they competent? Are they fast, the designer? Are they someone who's going to stay with you? Or are they just wham, bam, done here, pay me, I'm gone, and you never find them again? I would suggest you go with someone who to some degree can help you manage it, even though you're going to manage your own site.
I agree.
You do need an assistant manager, someone who you can connect with who has that artist mentality and say, yeah, I'm going to be available to you for help with plugins or help with the back end or help with stuff that you're just not capable or competent to do. I also wanted to make mention too, Annie, that in regards to like your different websites, be aware that if you're doing more than one website or even on your one website, don't confuse us that you're in different careers, different vocations. So what you're talking about is all under the umbrella of your company.
voiceover.
It all works hand in hand. It all is services that make sense to being a voiceover coach and on and on. But don't tell me you're a nurse. Don't tell me you're a landscaper. And be careful of talking about your bartending site.
Yeah.
Because that's side hustles that are quiet and underground and for you to have. And I see that a lot with talent, actually. Sometimes on the same website, they'll be telling me something that confuses me. I'm like, are they career? Is this something
their
that they're
full-time?
serious about?
Exactly. That's a really wonderful point. Yeah. So you want to make it that this is your vocation. This is what you do. Even if you're doing it part-time, right? You don't necessarily have to mention that you're doing it part-time, but what you showcase to the world is that you are a professional and that you can turn things around within a certain amount of time and that there is no question about that, right? So if you're going to put content on your website that makes us question that, then I might go to another talent. Now, if I had to choose, right, from one talent and I liked their voices and I'm like, oh, I love this voice and I love this voice, what's the next thing you're going to do? Law. Look at social media, look at websites, see what they've done before, right? Did they have other experience? Because especially if you don't know, right? When I don't know a product and I've never purchased from a store before, I'm looking at testimonials. I am looking at reviews. And of course, that's something that I think is super helpful to have on your website, right? Testimonials, reviews of your work, because how do I trust, right? And not just reviews on the website. Oh, I think that's a great place to start because I think a lot of people can actually put reviews and make them up. But I certainly don't. But I'm a testimonial. I don't even know what the word is for it, but I am constantly asking for testimonials. But not just putting it on my website, but putting them in blog articles, putting them out there on social media so that they kind of just become all over the place where it becomes a good word of mouth. And also, I want to back that up with performance so that people are actually talking about me. And talking about me, that's, I think, one of the best things that you can do for your career is get people talking about you in a good way, of course. Talking about, God, she's so talented, or I love her voice. She just executed for me, and I would hire her again and again and again. And that is people talking, right? In groups and forums, good word of mouth. I'm going to say word of mouth. But to get to the word of mouth, people have to know you, right? And so you have to put yourself out there first and foremost on a website, right? And then social media. And then back that up with good performance, with reliable, solid work. Then, after a certain amount of time, hopefully people start talking about you, right? And then that becomes one of the best referrals and best ways of getting the gig ever.
I love that. I love that. I mean, as an agent, the first thing I'm going to go to on your website are jobs. So if I see visuals, I'll always go to the visuals first. Actually, before your demo sometimes. I'm a very visual person. So if I see videos, I'm going to run on the assumption those are actual jobs of some kind. I'm going to poke on one or two videos and see if they look like they're professionally produced. If they do, then I'm like, oh, this guy, all right, he's selling Toyota. Okay, he's all right, perfect. Then I'll kind of listen to the demo, but I already know he's a top pro. He's already in the market, on the national market, and he's doing stuff. I just think that's the nature of what we do, moving fast, working at a business level, and working with top-notch
and visuals,
customers and clients, and visuals.
I love that you said visuals.
Visuals are really important. Cleanliness, space, structure. A lot of times I'll see the designer put the content in, but it looks messy. It looks like it's not formatted well. It looks like it's hard to read. The font is too small, or the colors are wrong. Things like that sort of get in the way of the messaging. So I think one of the more important things is, yes, visuals, but keep it clean, keep it fresh, keep it streamlined, keep it open, keep it easy to read. Above the fold is good. It doesn't mean I won't scroll. I'll scroll. But keep the most important stuff
above the fold.
When I land on it, it's right there. Your Toyota commercial is right there. I don't have to look for it.
And again, you said visual. I think visual is so important these days because, again, most of us have less than a 7-second attention span, and that includes people who are looking for people to hire. And so if you can put the most important stuff above the fold, make it visual. If you just have commercial demo, gosh, I'm a big fan of breaking up your demos into each spot and then labeling those spots with, let's say, Ford F-150, powerful, motivational, that kind of thing. Hoag Hospital, compassionate, warm. So putting those descriptors on the individual spots as well, because people don't click to listen. Sometimes we're not in a spot where we can listen listen, although you hope that people that are hiring you are going to be listening. But sometimes visually, right? Or they'll see a video of a Ford commercial that you did. And then they'll click and go to the YouTube of it, right? And then maybe on your YouTube channel, you'll have a playlist of all of the work that you've completed. So that kind of just helps and lends itself to your professional credibility. And visual. And again, visual, not just in visual videos, but also visual words saying Ford F-150. They know, oh, she does automotive, right? Or Hoag Hospital, oh, she does healthcare. Or Dominion Energy, oh, there's an energy spot. I'm an energy company. So I want to click and listen to that spot. Or fast food, right? So people can just get to what they need to quicker. And visually, it's there, boom, when it shows up. And then also, you've got the media behind it. And absolutely, I'd say put everything above the fold that's important. And yeah, make it clean. And I'm going to say that you can think that you can do it yourself. I don't know how many people are like, well, I'm just going to do it myself because I don't have the money. I'm going to do it. I'm going to make my own website. There's a template. Wix has got a template. First of all, I'm just going to say, if you are a website designer, then I would say, yes, go ahead and do it yourself. However, there are people trained, and this is what we talk about all the time. Like, I am a trained voice actor. Why would you hire someone that, you know what I mean? I've got the experience. I am a demo producer. It's what I do 8 hours a day. So if you want something, you get what you pay for. If you want something awesome, pay somebody that does it. That's their job. So why do you have to do it yourself? Why?
Exactly.
I mean, yeah, okay, maybe you're proud. I mean, I tried to do mine myself because I actually did websites a long time back in the day, but I know enough to be dangerous. And I know that I may know the back end of things, but I am not a graphic designer. So if you're not a graphic designer, please don't. Please don't.
And I would say I know how to clean my teeth every day. I do it several times a day, but I'm not a dentist. Do you know what I mean? I know how to figure out if my heartbeat and my respiratory system is moving fast, but I'm not a doctor. So I think understanding the difference between something that's a layman and a practical matter and something that's a professional and a really learned trade are two very different things. I wanted to say, too, this is a creative choice. But I see this more and more, and I get a lot of questions. Should I show my photo? Because gone are the days where, no, you shouldn't show your photo. Don't show your photo. Now, a lot of times, companies want to see who you are. They want to see what you look like. And they might even want to reach out to you for on-camera work as well. So if you're a voiceover interested in on-camera work, or if you do on-camera work, you really have to have the photos of yourself on that website. You really are the face of your voice.
Now, even if you're a character, that's my question. Even if you're a character, should you show your face?
Again, I think it's a creative choice. I don't think it's a yes or no, do or don't. But I'll tell you, and this is just me, I'm getting sick of avatars.
Me too.
I'm getting tired of characters.
I'm getting tired of
little
connecting with
animations.
microphones.
I'm tired of it. And it's not that you shouldn't do it. You should do it, especially if you're an animation actor, of
Put
course.
a picture of yourself with all the animated characters that you do.
Yes.
Right?
Think about all the top-notch A-listers.
Yes.
You see Rob Paulson. You see Debbie Derryberry. You see them as a
Christina
person.
Milicia, you see
smiling,
Bob Bergen, and you see them with all the characters
warm,
they've done.
Coming out to you, and then you see all the characters they've done.
Absolutely.
Because their PR, their manager says you need to be seen. This is your name and your brand. So that's all I'll say. It's up to you, but that's all I'll say.
I'm a big believer in that. I've got a face for radio kind of thing. Gone are those days. People want to connect with people, guys. They just do.
And the more real you are, the better. I don't think they're looking for a supermodel.
No.
They're not looking for an untouchable. They're looking for someone who looks like them that's doing incredible and miraculous things. That's what they're looking at. So I think that that's fantastic. And so, your website is you, and it's changeable, and it's manageable, and you can shift it. It's not written in stone. It's a work in progress.
As you evolve, your website evolves. So guys, bosses, get that website and really start thinking about it. It is an important part of your business, super important part of your business. So, Law, thank you again for an amazing discussion. I could go on and on and on about websites, but we do want to let you guys listen to our next episode. We're going to have you consume all of our episodes. And so I am going to ask you, bosses, if you have a local nonprofit that's close to your heart, do you ever wish that you could do more to help them? Well, you certainly can. Visit 100voiceswhocare.org to learn how. And big shout out to our sponsor, IPDTL. We love them, IPDTL. You too can connect and network like bosses. Find out more at IPDTL.com. Law, I love you. That's it.
I love you too.
That's all, bosses.
I love everything about you.
And bosses, we love you too. So we hope you'll join us next week. And you guys have an amazing week. We'll talk to you soon. Bye.
Talk to you soon.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your host, Ann Ganguza. And take your business to the next level. Sign up for our mailing list at voboss.com and receive exclusive content, industry revolutionizing tips and strategies, and new ways to rock your business like a boss. Redistribution with permission, coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.
I'll never forget this direction. I was a young performer. I was an actor and starting my voiceover career at very young. And I was already a mother by that time. And they said, this is a mother. Can you sound more like a mother a little bit? And I said, I didn't mean to be a wise ass. I just was saying, I am a mother, actually. They said, yeah, just could you sound a little bit more like a mother? Oh, it was like it didn't penetrate them at all what I had to say. It was just the image of what a mother sounds like they wanted. They didn't want to know that I was really a mother. They didn't care about that.